So today we're just going to be doing an overview about your ballot. So basically, things ranging from how to cast your ballot, if you should do a mail-in or an absentee ballot, and just different general things about what's going to be on your ballot and what you can expect to see on November 3rd, or hopefully before if you're filling out a ballot to be sent in. So this is what a general overview of what we'll be covering. Each of us will take kind of a different topic, and we won't. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask at the end of the topic, just so you don't forget, and then we'll have more time for questions at the end.
What's up, guys? So we're going to start with what a ballot is, first off. So a ballot is the physical form or electronic voting machine equivalent that a voter fills out. And what's on the ballot is a list of candidates, issues, and so on that a person, decides and votes on. And there's two types of ballots that you send through the mail. One is going to be the absentee ballot. The other is going to be your mail-in ballot. Let me just say first off that it's normal for most U.S. voters to cast their ballots in person in a polling booth, at a polling place or station, and it's going to be based on where that person is registered to vote. So an absentee ballot is a ballot that's used to cast an absentee vote, which means that a person who cannot physically be present at the booth on election day. So every state allows absentee voting in some form, and law requires ballots to be sent to military and overseas voters for federal elections, obviously coming up. A registered voter must request through their state government, which accepts or rejects the application. And when approved to vote absentee, election officials mail an absentee ballot, which the voter completes and signs and returns by mail. And note that officials can reject absentee ballots if they are improperly filled out, and voters face steep penalties for false information. In 16 states, an absentee ballot is the only form of voting through the mail that is allowed by law, and the voter is required to give a reason why they can't go to a voting location. These reasons include being out of the county where they're registered to vote, being a student living outside of the county, having an illness or disability, working or being on jury duty during voting hours, serving as an election worker or poll watcher, having religious beliefs or practices that prevent them from going to a voting center, and being in prison but still able to vote. And these 16 states, listen up if this is you, include Alabama, Arkansas, Connecticut, Delaware, Indiana, Kentucky, Louisiana, Massachusetts, Mississippi, Missouri, New Hampshire, New York, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, and West Virginia.
So another type of ballot available for people that don't want to go to the voting sites is the mail-in ballot. And many people have used this specifically to use this term to refer to ballots that are mailed when a person can vote. But amid the pandemic, it has become more available for everyone. It doesn't necessarily, in the past, you have needed an excuse in some states to request a mail-in ballot, but now it has become more flexible. Not in every state, though. To request a mail-in ballot, first, you should confirm that you're a registered voter and that your local election office has the correct address on file. Today, there was an article in the Times that the U.S. Postal Service was missing 1.8 million ballots because they didn't have the correct addresses on file. And election officials urge you to request your ballot as soon as possible or return your ballot if you've already received it. And it's done to ensure that it has enough time to be processed by the United States Postal Service, which has had recent delays sparked by political controversy after Trump expressed opposition for additional funding to deal with the influx of a lot of mail-in ballots. Step 2, you can visit this website to choose from your state from the drop-down menu, and it redirects you to your state's voting page so you can follow specific instructions. And the Postal Service recommends voters to request their ballots at least 15 days before Election Day and mail their ballots at least 1 week before their stated deadline for receiving them. Do I need to request my ballot? So I felt like this chart was pretty comprehensive. The dark blue is states that automatically mail out ballots, and the light blue allows mail-in ballot voting for everyone, which means that you just have to request it. They don't come to you automatically, but you don't need to file any type of justification for why you need a mail-in. And then these 5 states, it was states were requiring justification for mail-in voting, meaning you have to give some sort of explanation for why you can't show up to the poll sites. This is another chart for a deadline to request your ballot. It's coming up soon for the first states here, so it should be done as soon as possible if you plan to vote through mail-in. And the deadline to mail your ballot, received 1 day before the election, received by election date, postmarked 1 day before the election, and postmarked by election day.
So if you're in California, for California mail-in ballots, you can apply by mail. You may use the application printed on the voter information guide that is mailed to you by your county elections office official prior to every election. You may also visit or write to your county elections official for an application, or you may use the California vote by mail ballot application. After reading the instructions, type your information directly into the application, then print, sign, and date the application. Mail the completed application to your county elections office. Please do not mail it to the Secretary of State's office because this will delay receipt of your vote by mail ballot. You also can apply in person anytime after 7 days before Election Day. You will need to apply in person at your county elections office to request a vote by mail ballot for that election. You also may apply by telephone. Contact your county elections official to see if your county allows you to apply by telephone. California vote by mail ballot applications are in English, Spanish, Chinese, Hindi, Japanese, Khmer, Korean, Tagalog, Thai, Vietnamese. If you need to request a ballot or election materials in a different language, you can call the Multilingual Services section at 1-800-815-2666 and click option 3. Los Angeles County provides full language service and/or assistance in up to 18 languages.
There are certain things that can disqualify a mail-in ballot. So when you reach your state's election website, you should follow it very carefully, the instructions. If you forget to sign your ballot, every state requires voters to sign an affidavit on the outside of the envelope containing their mail ballot. And be sure to use the same signature that you've been using in your documents or your most updated signature, because now 31 states are using signature verification, which means that any election officials will cross-match the signature on your ballot to your most updated signature on your official documents. Missing required or additional documentation. Some states are requiring all or some voters to submit a copy of their photo ID with their ballot. And the last one is sending your ballot back late. So the chart that we visited previously, one of the most common reasons mail-in ballots are rejected is that they arrive too late or lack a postmark.
So other than just the big ticket items on our ballots come November, we also do vote for a lot of smaller local candidates. So a really cool resource for this is something that's called Ballotpedia. They allow you to do a sample ballot lookup. So you put in your registration address and you have access to all the local candidates that will be on your ballot in November. In a moment, I'll show you, I'll put mine in and show you as an example. So it gives you information about each candidate to give you a better feel for who you feel like deserve your vote, including a biography, a career overview, a former committee assignment list, key votes if they're a member of the Senate or the Congress, and former election demographics, and campaign themes and donors. So just to give you a better idea of who you feel like aligns most with the things you value. So it'll show you, like, for example, like this was be mine. And so it shows you this is, for example, my Congress. So it shows me my House and my Senate. And then this is just, for example, the incumbent Democrat in the Illinois District 1 House. So now I'll just show you an example of a sample ballot. So I'll put in my address and view my ballot. Click on the date. and it will show you my ballot measures, which Jenna is about to touch on after I finish, and it will show you all of the many elections and individuals I could vote for. So I live in the city of Chicago, so I have a lot of different Cook County things to vote for. But then just for another example, if I click on, say, this independent write-in, it will give me a whole overview, or if I want to see who she's running against, different things like that. So Jenna will now talk to you a little bit more about the different propositions that could be on your ballot.
All right, so besides just the big presidential election, you're going to have options to vote for statewide measures. So if you live in any of the states on the screen right now, then you will have something on your statewide ballot, whether it's for a member of Congress or a statewide ballot measure, some issue that's up on the table. So these are the states that will have more than just like your basic presidential and just like statewide issues. Next slide, please. And so it's really important that when you are doing the sample ballot lookup that Shay showed us, there's going to be several lists of propositions based on like the state or the date, and it's going to have every date of election that certain states have had in the year of 2020. So you have to make sure you're clicking on November 3rd and that you're still on your state. If you want to read more about your local state ballot measures. And when Ballotpedia has this awesome tool where if you click on your state and on your date that you're voting, it'll have the list of all the measures that are up on the table, and then it give you a whole overview of who's running for certain things, but also what's being debated. And we can go to the next slide as well. So it's going to, I just chose a sample ballot lookup for Claremont. So this is the first thing it shows you it shows you the list of ballot measures. So if you want to know more about California Proposition 25, you'd click on it and it's going to give you a broad overview of what's on that ballot measure, who supports it, who opposes it. And that is going to include like your local editorial staffs, like what they think of it, local nonprofit groups, what they think of the ballot measure. And we can go to the next slide. So yeah, it's going to give you an overview in history. Has this ballot measure or something similar been debated recently? And if so, when? And how did it go in the last, how did a similar ballot measure go in the last time it was being voted on? And then there's going to be the overview on what a yes or no vote supports or opposes. So a lot of these ballot measures are written in complex language, so they simplify it for you on Ballotpedia and tells you what that yes or no vote would do. And then it also will give you political supporters and opponents. So if someone's endorsed a certain decision on this vote, what have they endorsed and who is it, and a brief overview on who's supporting it. And it also give you links to the campaign websites of each issue and why people say vote yes or vote no. And then it'll also give you the campaign finance, so who's put money into which campaign, how much are they getting, and who's supporting it, the campaigns via donations. And then it'll also give you the latest polls on the measure. So oftentimes a university or a local political group will produce polls on what people currently think about this ballot measure. So, and then you can go to the next one. So these are some of the states that are having more local propositions. So this means like not just statewide decisions, but this might be specific to your county. So it's really important if you live in one of these states to figure out, is your county voting on anything super specific, and then you can go through Ballotpedia and follow the link below, and you can read more about each county ballot measure rather than just the statewide ballot measure.
So yeah, I'm not sure if anyone here right now has any questions for us, but Aditi or Maya. But yeah, so basically there's a lot of helpful links. This presentation will be posted on our website, u2020vision.weebly.com, which all of those links are hot links, so they'll take you directly to the websites to give you the information that you need for wherever you live specifically. Yeah, and there's a lot more good information on that website as well. And there will be another voting presentation on Friday about next Friday about just general voting information. So come out to that one too.